I have to also say that the bus journey is only 62 cents here, which is about 60p, less than 60p. It's less than 60p to go, and it's a 40-minute journey because my dad's booked a place right out on the interbs, and yeah, there's about a half hour bus journey, and it's not a problem because it's 62p. And you know what, it can do hopper buses as well, so you can spend 62p, half an hour journey, and it even goes further for the same price. And so you do that into the centre, and then we went to the Botanical Gardens today, and so we had to get 2 buses. And I was thinking for 62p, wow, I would use it all the time. And when I got on the second bus, I realised that it actually counts as part of the same bus journey. So we did like an hour on the bus, an hour to the centre, and an hour on the out for 62p. And I don't know what's going on with England, but England buses are like £3. I think that's crazy to spend £3 on a bus, even if you're only going like a mile or less. If you're doing a 15-minute walk on a bus, you'd have to pay £3. In the past, it used to be different. There used to be, I think, if you were only going a short distance, you could pay £1.50. But I think a lot of people were pretending that they're going a short distance when really they were actually going a long distance. I know I once did that. I knew I was going over 1.5 miles. I think I was doing 2 miles, and they said you can only have to go a mile and a half. And I think I did actually get off a bus stop earlier because I didn't want to pay the £3, and I was trying to. But I think a lot of people were doing that, going a long distance and then just paying the £1.50, because once you're on the bus, they're not going to know when you really get off. Yeah, they stopped doing that, and now you just have to pay £3. But that's a lot of money considering that the average salary is about £12 now. Okay, it used to be £10, but it's it's £10 an hour and stuff, and to think, and then plus you have got £12 now, but you got like taxes and stuff like that. So by the time you've not, if you don't have that much money, and if you're not working particularly, to pay £6 to go there and back, it's a huge amount. And I think for me it's even worse because I need to get to the location that I want. I really need to get 2 buses. There's like a short bus here, and then there's a second bus or a second tram that I need to get, and they don't do hopper buses in Birmingham. So if I wanted to get to my spa, I would have to pay 2 full journeys. I'd have to pay £6 there and £6 back. And yet here, it's 62 cents. That's absolutely insane. It's like a fraction of what it is in England. Everything in England is expensive. There used to be an incentive. I used to like going back to England. Even though I've been on holiday so many times in my lifetime, I've always enjoyed the idea of going back to England. And do you know why that is? It's because I've noticed that when you go to these places, things like tomato ketchup to mix with pasta or something, we often go to, when we have been to many self-catering stuff, and if you go to the shops, you will be paying a lot of money on things. Bread is like £1.70, and milk is like £1.80 and stuff like that. And this is used to be the cost of when you go abroad and you go to the shops, you would see that food would be very expensive. And I used to love going to England because it would be like, finally, you can get, I can still get milk on the market for 20p. I can still find them. You can still find some good deals. Food can be very cheap in England, but mostly in the shops it used to be like 80p or something, like at £1. Cheese used to be about £1, maybe £2, but not in the last year. In the last year, the food in the regular shops have doubled. In fact, I think they've actually got 4 times more expensive than what they were 4 years ago. 4 years ago, almost everything could be bought for under £1. And then suddenly it's like, over like 2 or 3 years, everything doubled. And then just in the last year, I've noticed that almost everything in the shop is double what it was 2 years ago. So in the last 2 years, I would say that everything in the shops have doubled. So the cost of living has doubled, rent has gone up, salaries have gone down, and then what? The government's going to be charging more taxes on people? Like, I don't know what they're doing, but they're making it very. They're making people want to leave. That's what I think. I used to like going on holiday, and I used to like going to places and seeing things, and then I used to always look forward to going back home knowing that the shops are far cheaper. The average food in shops is far cheaper, and in the last year, everything in the average shop in Tesco, Sainsbury's, as does all of them, the food costs have gone up dramatically in the last 2-3 years, and yeah, I feel like it's got to the point where I no longer look forward to going back to England. I don't like Birmingham because of the Islamic takeover that's definitely happening, and just the fact that I think it's even 1/5. I don't know how many people are covering of veils. Maybe it's less than 1/5, but everywhere you look, there are women walking around in veils, and sometimes face veils as well. And you see them driving, and you just think, how the hell? It just feels like living with mentally ill people. I think wearing a veil, specifically a face mask and stuff, and to do that, and it's just so disrespectful for all the women that have been beaten up over, exposing themselves. It's a reminder of female oppression and male dominance, and it reminds me that these people serve a false god, because I would never want my people to dress like that. And so seeing it constantly, it reminds me that I'm not welcome in Birmingham, and I don't want to be in Birmingham. And so I've never gone on holiday and not looked forward to going back to England. I mean, okay, I don't like the winter and I don't like the cold, but it rains a lot. But I love gardens, and England is such a nice place because it rains a lot. There are gardens everywhere. It's easy to maintain a garden in England because it rains a lot, so you don't need to water everything 24/7, and you don't need to worry about it drying out and stuff. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to going back to England. It's freezing cold. That Birmingham's taken over by mentally ill people, and I have to now deal with the possibility that the government doesn't realise that England is being taken over by Islamic people, and that Islamic people are actually mentally ill because of the beliefs that they have. And I don't know, I don't believe that this is the truth. I think they're putting on some sort of puppet show whilst actually just taking lots of taxes because they are trying to save up for some sort of war that's about to happen. But in reality, it would be easy to get rid of the Islamic people. Just stop giving people benefits and stop allowing them to just live off benefits. There's Spanish, in the Spanish Revolution, that they had a Spanish Inquisition or something where they said, right, you have to be Catholic if you want to stay in Spain. You have to be Catholic. I think we need something like that in England. We need a crusade to get Islamic people out. This is a Christian country. If you want to be atheists, if you want to be other religions, fine. But multiculturalism to me is where you see Islamic people mixed with Christian people, mixed with Indian people, and the Indian people wear some sort of black beehive on their head. It's madness. And what's it? Islamic people wear those veils or the popcorn hats. It's just madness. To see people walking around dressed like that, it's like walking around seeing people dress up like Teletubbies and thinking that they're sane, and there's none of that here. It's all Catholic, and it's a Catholic nation, and I think there's a lot more respect for the Catholic faith here, and I think that maybe that's the reason why Islamic people do not come here.